It was a busy day in Jerusalem. The sun was shining brightly over the city, and the temple was full of people. But instead of prayer and peace, there were shouts, the clinking of coins and the bleating of sheep. Merchants had turned the temple into a marketplace. Tables were full of doves in cages, money changers sat behind piles of silver and copper coins, and everywhere people were loudly bargaining over the price of animals for sacrifice. Jesus walked into the temple and paused for a moment. His gaze swept over the tables and the people busy buying and selling. This was God's house, a place of prayer, not a marketplace. A fire burned within him. Suddenly he grabbed a rope and made a whip from it. With powerful swings he drove the sheep and cattle out. He went to the tables of the money changers and overturned them. Coins rolled across the floor. People cried out in shock. Jesus turned to the merchants, his voice full of power and conviction. Jesus said, "What are you doing here? My Father's house is a house of prayer, but you have turned it into a den of thieves." Merchants hurried to gather their animals, money changers picked up their coins, and pilgrims watched in amazement. Among them were priests, Pharisees, ordinary people who came to the temple to pray, and also zealots. The zealots were a group strongly opposed to Roman rule. They whispered among themselves about plans to defeat the Romans and free themselves. But what they saw was very different. Jesus turned against the corruption in the temple and called for a different kind of freedom, a freedom from sins and a return to true worship of God. Even the zealots had to understand that the freedom Jesus brought was not violent, but a freedom of the heart. As the temple grew quieter again, Jesus' disciples looked at each other. They felt that Jesus meant something very different from the violent freedom the zealots hoped for. A freedom that started in the heart, not through violence.